there are a lot of things going on that weren't going on for the last 6 months, basically, ever since the trade war really heated up, when Boeing was in the headlines every day and Caterpillar
for the
and so
wrong
forth.
reasons. Now Boeing's in the headlines every day because the stock hit another all-time high today.
Yeah, UTEX with the engine sales and things like that. I mean, you've got a lot of reasons to like what's playing out right here, and I think people are, we've said it repeatedly, looking through this and looking forward to basically a normalization of trade again at some point in the future. Erin, I don't know if it's 2018, though.
Is it lasting? Is this change in the market that we are starting to experience, at least this week and maybe a little bit after that, real?
So absolutely, I think it's real. When you look at what's driving this, you've seen earnings continually through 2018 be upgraded. And that's really unique from what we see historically. In addition to that, I think earnings expectations for the third quarter are too low. Market's expecting about 19.7% year on year for the third quarter. I think that you're going to beat that by, at least a couple of percentage points. And so I think not only are expectations too low for third quarter, I think that they're too low for next year as well. Remember, what's driving this is positive fundamentals. Yes, the earnings were driven in part by the tax reform in the beginning part of this year, but the last $2 to $3 on the S&P 500 in terms of the earnings upgrades that we've seen, that's been coming from real economic growth. And that's, I think, here to stay. You heard Jerome Powell talk about it. The economy is firing in all cylinders. I don't think that's going away anytime soon. So I think that you want to be long the more cyclical, secular stories in the economy in the U.S. I think that's the place to be.
All right, Pete, new highs today. Merck, Disney, Microsoft, Boeing, Apple.
Yeah. Sounds pretty broad. I like it. I like the sound of it.
Blue chips.
Yeah, blue chips. And let's go back to last Thursday. How about just one example in Boeing? Okay, so Boeing's move has actually impacted the Dow from last Thursday to today. 37% of that move is responsible just for one stock in Boeing. But that being said, when you look across, Scott, when you start at the beginning of May and you look back, you say, when did this rally? The industrials kicked off basically May 1st. We've been running ever since then, even with all this trade talk, everything else. And now we're going to be able to get back to what really matters. And Ken Langone talked about this just last week. He said, look, this is the best economy you could have ever imagined, right? He talked about earnings. He talked about growth. He talked about the balance sheets, all of the things that we want to talk about every single day when we talk about the fundamental story of a lot of these businesses and why you'd want to be in the U.S.
Still took a little while. It still took a little while for the industrials, the Dow, to get back to that new record high.
The shifting around.
kept hitting it. The NASDAQ was leading the way with tech. And the Dow was lagging a bit, not anymore.
Yeah, and tech, let's define what tech is right now. Tech is not necessarily just the FANG names. When you look at what's really been powering this market, Scott, it's old school tech. It's been IBM. It's been Cisco. It's been Intel, which has been on fire. It's been a myriad of different names. Apple's been absolutely screaming to the upside. Seems like that's ready to break through and go through new highs as well. So there's a lot of different things powering this market right now. But I love the fact that the industrials have stepped up. It's not just a tech rally. It's all over the place. And look at those pharma names. Yeah. Pfizer, Merck. These names have been rocketing to the upside as well.